What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about the best defenders and the best attackers for week 3 and 4 of season 12 of Battlegrounds. So this season is going to be honestly really interesting, or this week is going to be really interesting with Hazard Shift, because we got the same attacker tactic and the same defender tactic, which is Decay and Sugar Pill. But now, instead of Staggering Beauty and Pre of the Week, we have Hazard Shift, Bleed and Shock, and Kinda Good Defense. So this node, the Kinda Good Defense, you place a random debuff from weakness, armor break, suppression, or disorient on the defender by parrying, which actually could help you for 2 reasons. To fight a certain defender, or if you want to apply some more debuffs to actually be resistant to bleed and shock from Hazard Shift. Because let's say you have someone that's Decay, but you're not fighting someone that's Sugar Pill. You're not going to get, the withers on the opponent, which means you're not going to have the resistance on poison and, on bleed and shock. But if you have someone like Spider-Gwen, you can utilize that parry to apply a debuff. And then you can also apply your slow with your heavy attack. And then if you get to 3 debuffs, you basically are damage resist to the bleed and shock, even if the opponent isn't Sugar Pill. So first, let's talk about the best science attackers. So every single tactic attacker here is going to work for every single Sugar Pill defender. However, like I said, if the defender is not Sugar Pill, you need to apply 3 debuffs to be able to counter Hazard Shift, or you can actually be immune to it. So let's see who can do that. Ant-Man is immune to shock, and he also can apply 4 debuffs with just a special one really easily. So he should be able to cover every single match, even outside Sugar Pill. Next we have Cassie, which is working the same. She's same immunities, and she can apply easy debuffs to the opponent, so you're going to be resistant to that bleed as well. Luke Cage, surprisingly, is really good. He's got those exhaustions, and he's also bleed immune, so you can just start by hitting the opponent instantly, because it's actually Hazard Shift, bleed and shock. So you can just start the bleed phase being immune to it, and then by the time you get to the shock, you should be able to have 3 exhaustions or 2, and then you can just utilize the parry node to apply another debuff. So yeah, same with Morbius. Morbius has a lot of bleeds, he can stack them really fast with his basic attacks. Photon has a ton of debuffs as well. Quicksilver, same thing. Sandman, he doesn't stack debuffs early on, but he's actually immune to both bleed and shock, so he's just gonna work everywhere, no matter what. Silk has a bunch of debuffs, she's gonna work. Spider-Ham and Titania, same thing. Those are going to be, in my opinion, the best ones. I did not include like Hulk or Anti-Venom, because they actually take some time to apply debuffs to the opponent. Captain America doesn't apply debuffs, so you only can use them against Sugar Pill. And same with Void, he doesn't really apply debuffs too fast. Or Spider-Man, they need to take their time. Or She-Hulk. So another 2 champions that I think are going to work is Scorpion, because he can just go immune shock. And you can actually hit the opponent a little bit in the bleed too, because he should be able to heal that up with his Petrify. And someone interesting actually, which I'll be really surprised if I see some, Electro. Because as you know, Electro is actually getting stronger if he has shocks on himself. So, you can just go ham with a rank 4 Electro or something. And, the good thing with Electro is that he's always a dual threat. The opponent doesn't have a counter, they are kinda in a bad situation. Now, for the skill class. All the champions you see here are going to work the same way. They are going to counter every single Sugar Pill defender. If I hide my face here. So Blade, he actually has some debuffs, especially with the boons. Even if you're fighting a non-Sugar Pill, you should be able to apply at least 3 debuffs thanks to the parry node as well, to be resistant to it. And then the only one that I think honestly can do this is Massacre. Gwenpool and Hitmonkey need RNG. But Massacre, you just pop a special 1, get the Disorient and the Bleed, so you should be fine. But we also have some champions that are going to work even without being immune to shock or bleed. So, Black Cat is going to work when you get to the Sabotage, you're going to ignore the node. However, it's going to be a little bit tough to get to it, because you actually need to hit the opponent, so I don't know if she's going to be the best one. A High Sig Crossbones is going to be really nice. Falcon with his lock-on can counter the node. And then Kingpin. Kingpin can be, really crazy if he's dragging off all those debuffs. Korg, if you want to use Korg, he's immune to bleed and shock, so he's safe there. You can just go aggressive with him. And then my favorite one, which I'm definitely going to give it a shot, is Moondragon. As you might know, Moondragon has resistance on bleed, and then when she gets to 20 charges, she has another 50% resist, so you should be able to be fully resistant to it if you have max Coagulate, which I'm going to have. And she actually gets ramped up when she's got a bleed on her, so that should be very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to testing Moondragon. And up next, we have the Mutant class. You know, Archangel is going to work. However, you definitely need RNG because he's not immune to anything. Bishop, he's got high energy resistance and he can struggle with bleeds. Colossus is immune to bleed. Gambit has resistance to bleed and he actually can heal from it. So yeah, he would be interesting for sure. Havoc gets fueled up like crazy. He should be nasty. Iceman is immune to bleed. Now, Magnetos, both of them should work. You know, the red one is resistance to bleed and shock, so he should be healing everything. So that would be interesting for sure. And then I was thinking about Namor. Maybe Namor, you know, he gets his outrage really fast with the bleeds, and then you might be able to like heal some of it with, you know, throwing specials. That'd be interesting to see. Now, probably the best one from the Mutant class is Omega Red, so I'm definitely gonna add him here. You know, he just gets the death field with his bleeds. He can heal from it. Very good stuff. And then two more. Sauron is immune to... sorry, he's not immune. He's got resistance to bleed, which is really nice. Again, he can heal up. And Storm, the OG Storm. So if you want to do something crazy with Storm, I think she's shock immune. So what I would do is wait out the bleed phase in the beginning, hit the opponent as much as possible in the shock phase, and then when I'm close to my special 3, I just hit on the bleed phase to get a bunch of bleeds on me. But that's actually going to give me a bunch of prowess. So maybe you can, you know, do something like that to like save some of your health. It's not going to be too fast because you're probably going to have to wait like 2 bleed phases because, you know, the hazard shift starts with bleed too. So I don't think it's going to be ideal, but I'll be really surprised if I see someone. And then the tech class, Fam. If you got a 6200 Fam, he shrugs off, I believe, bleed and also, yeah, bleed and shock, I think. Let's see, Sig, incoming bleed and incinerate. So he doesn't shrug off the shock, but he shrugs off the bleed basically really, really fast, 90%. And you also get a regen from it. So he should work. I don't think he's going to be the best, but he's really good on defense. So I'm definitely going to add mine. Then probably the best one for this meta is going to be Ghost. Definitely going to run my rank 5. Guardian, if he's Sig 200, he's resistance to both. Item is immune to shock. Lady Deathstrike can go resistance on bleed. Nebula is immune to both. Nimrod is immune to bleed. Mega Sentinel has resistance. Shuri is immune to shock. Warlock is immune to bleed. And Viv is immune to bleed as well. Up next, we have the Cosmic class. There's not going to be too many champs that work for this class. We have only the 2 decay, which is Angela. So she should work. She also has a lot of debuffs, so she can do non-decay. And Terax. Now, Terax can work everywhere because he's actually immune to shock and bleed. So he's going to be very, very good for this season or this week. And then CGR, again, is immune to bleed. So just perfect. And then Hulkling is immune to shock. So he should work as well. You know, those two, you're going to have to wait out the next phases. But they should really work really nice. Now, the Mystic class, it doesn't have too many good options. Absorbing Man, he's the best. I mean, is there anything this guy can't do for real? And he's like immune to bleed and shock with his Uru form. It's just perfect. And then Doom is immune to shock. Dragonman is immune to bleed. And then Jane, she could be interesting with the shock immunity and like the good damage on the crits. But yeah, there's not too many champions for the Mystic class where you can make it work. Now, for defenders, there's not too many champions that I want to call out, but there's a few. So for the Science class, Jessica is going to be super, super annoying. Where is she? Jessica. Because you get more debuffs on you. So she's going to get Investigation. Super, super annoying. And there's also Void. You know, debuffs are just death with Void. So, you know, definitely going to work well. Now, there's a skill champion that's going to be a little bit annoying on defense this meta. However, if you're lucky, he can also be easier. Because with this node, you apply a random debuff. And this random debuff is going to give Killmonger power. But if you end up getting the armor break, it's actually going to, you know, remove Killmonger's BS basically. So, you know, you can kind of chance it and see how it goes. But for the most part, he should be a better defender. There is also another strategy which I'm going to try. You know, when they don't have someone that's decay, they need to have someone that's bleed immune or shock immune or both. But what you can do is bring someone like Toad, where you kind of need to have a poison immune as well. And it's really tough if you don't have someone that's, you know, decay to have all those 3 immunities. That would be really tough. And then I think Weapon X is going to be really tricky when someone is using a champion with 1 immunity, because this guy can go super aggressive. And if you want to wait out a certain immunity, he's going to be so aggressive and fully unblockable, which can definitely clip some people, and definitely is going to clip me at some point. And then Kitty Pryde, I thought she actually might be a little bit tough if you get a few incinerates on you, because she actually gets a lot of temperature, and then the special one might hit a little bit too hard in the block. But I think this is going to be really rare, but you know, it definitely could happen. And then there's a few more. So Warlock, same thing with Killmonger. He can be easier with the armor break if you get the armor break, but he also is gonna have more. You're also gonna have more debuffs on you to heal from willpower, which is gonna trigger the infection. So he should be an interesting one as well. And then 2 more. Man-Thing, same strategy with like Man-Thing, same with Toad. Basically, you just need like a few immunities if you don't have a decay, so you can definitely trap someone. And then an interesting one is Gallon. So why Gallon? Like, he doesn't benefit from anything, but I did not mention a very good counter from the Mystic class to Gallon. You can't use Rintra, he's not immune to anything. You can't use Tigra or Weaken. Those are like the best counters for him. The only counter I see is literally Absorbing Man. I don't think Doom is going to work. Claire could work, actually. She's going to be a little bit slow because you got to wait out the shock phase. But Absorbman is just perfect for him. I think that's like the only counter. But yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to this meta, actually. I want to prepare my deck, and I think it's going to be a lot more fun from the one we currently have. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.